Welcome, audience, to another edition of Fantasy Football Come True Outtake. You can catch us every week right here on YouTube and other social media outlets. You can also catch Fantasy Football Come True every week on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. And of course, that's the show that I host, Hot Rod Funderburk. But Fantasy Football Come True Outtake, these guys right here who are in control, B. Foster and Ron Fun, they don't need a host. And why? Because they don't. That's why. They're going to tell you what the deal is. They're going to tell you what players are going to do what and where they are putting their money. And now that it's the playoffs, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where it gets serious. So here we go. Ron Fun, take it away. Fantasy Football Come True Outtake.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Rod. B, thanks for joining and helping and participating like you have all season, man, and just making this thing go. This week, listeners, we're going to switch it up. This week, there are a whole lot less games on the slate. And, typically by this time, we pretty much wound down. And last week, week 17, was a really good week for us. And I kind of really want to end it on a good note, to be honest with you. But last week, 17 was so good, it got me kind of peeking around the corner this week. And Brian, this week, man, I want to play a lot of head-to-heads this week. Last week, I did the tournament situation. But I want to do some head-to-heads this week because I really think that at a minimum, if we put our lineups together the right way, I should at least at a minimum break even on a bunch of head-to-heads. So I'm not going to lose anything by playing. And I got a chance to pop off and maybe double up. Maybe. Of course, I'm not going to double up 100% on head-to-heads. But that's what I'm thinking about this week. How would you think about game selection or your approach for this weekend, too, if you were playing this week?
Listen, man, I told you before this, I won't play none this week. But your strategy right there already taught me into just want to build something, man. I like just playing some head-to-heads, man. Just playing some head-to-heads, and so man, I might have to jump in a little bit, man. On the 6-game slate, play some head-to-heads. I mean, you just got to beat one person, and we started dabbling in that a little more late in the season, and I think we both saw some success in that. So yeah, I might be interested in jumping in a little more, man. As I said on the show, and when you talked about two guys, man, and a couple points we talked about on the show was, your main rule was getting running backs right. So again, that's going to be another key for this slate, man. And if we talk about three running backs that you got to get right, 3 available positions, man. I'm just looking over really quickly here. Yeah, so I got 4 guys that I'm gonna have to pick 3 of if I'm building a lineup, man. And I'm gonna tell you that Derrick Henry is not one of them. I'm telling you, probably the most important news on the slate, man, is what's gonna happen with Alvin Kamara. And the reason that's gonna be critical. How soon do we find out that news? Because that's a Sunday game. If we're playing across both slates, that's a Sunday game, a 4:40 game. Will we know that news before 1:00 on Saturday? That's a big question. But to my point on the show, that you've seen all season Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins as rookies. The teams have not wanted to fully commit to them because of them being rookies. Late in the season, you saw Indianapolis. They couldn't deny it. Like, okay, Naeem Hines is okay. Jordan Wilkins is okay, but this kid Jonathan Taylor is just silly. And we saw him over the last 2-3 weeks of the season really trend towards him getting all the work. And this playoff time, there ain't no messing around. We're not fooling around with trying to split carries and all this, man. So I really like Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins this weekend as these teams focus more on the players that they have proven to be successful, man. And then my last guy is Nick Chubb, all the way down at 6,700. He's the last game Sunday night, and maybe somebody we can, plug in Kamara and then switch to Chubb, but that's going to leave you some money. But either way, I like Chubb because his Pittsburgh defense is not the same Pittsburgh defense that we thought it was early in the year. And Nick Chubb is just a beast, man. We don't have this home field advantage stuff with no fans and all that. So your number one rule is get the running backs right. And the running backs that I like this week are Kamara if he plays, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, and J.K. Dobbins. I want to figure out which three of them I can get in my lineup.
Okay. I like that. Before we go to my running backs here, I got to dig further in your statement.
Okay.
You said no Henry. Help me understand the game script for no Henry. Just the game, not even about Henry's 9,200 or whatever.
Yeah. So Tennessee can't stop nobody. They really can't stop the run. If I'm gonna say, and Derrick Henry is different, so it's tough. He's different. He breaks all our rules, man. Honestly. But if I'm gonna predict, I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. But again, I think Tannehill's underrated. I think you can attack the Ravens better through the air than you can on the ground. Now the secondary has been banged up. Maybe the secondary is getting healthier going to the playoffs. I'm not sure. We have to keep an eye on that on the injury report. I know Marcus Peters has been out. I think there are a couple other corners of theirs have been out, but A.J. Brown is a monster. I just think it'll be a high-scoring game. Derrick Henry's not catching any passes, and at 9,200, I told you this early in the season. It's the game that we. I got to look at that week. Man. What week it was? It might have been. Anyway, if y'all listeners go back and look. What week? Matter of fact, I got time today. Let me look. Let me look, man.
The week we told him not to play him, or what?
No. Let me get this right. That y'all need to go back and listen to this episode. I know it's over, but y'all have to go back and listen to this episode that me and Ron Fun did. It was week 13 when Tennessee played the Browns. And we told you, don't play Derrick Henry, and that Nick Chubb was Derrick Henry Jr.
Yeah.
And you should go with Tannehill. And in that game, Derrick Henry had 6.9 points. And Tannehill just went silly and had 31.6 points. And it's the same setup, man. Nick Chubb is the same dynamic running back that Derrick Henry is, but he's like $3,000 cheaper. So there's no reason for me to go up and get Derrick Henry against a pretty good defense when I can just take Nick Chubb at $3,000 cheaper. And then I can, if I want, I can get Tannehill to get that production out of them in that game.
I like it. What I was also hoping we could get to is the fact that last year, week 2 of the playoffs, the Baltimore Ravens got upset by the Tennessee Titans, and them boys are coming with their straps on this weekend. They coming. I don't know who's winning, but I know defense is being played this weekend. And when you got a workhorse like Henry, they're going to force it to Henry. And you know what the defense going to do? They're going to wear Henry out early. And you know what that means? You know what that means?
Play action.
Play action. And so, I just don't know, is it the primary receiver going to eat, or is it the less heralded superhero, he comes out as a superhero when he wants to, and he goes away. Is Davis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know.
And so let me ask you, Ron Fun. Today is Thursday. When last time we talked, man? Sunday?
Yeah.
Text Sunday. So we hadn't talked before this. But we agree pretty much on the strategy or the game script in this game, man. And typically, I'm just looking at history. Typically, when that happens, it's straight murder. It's straight murder, man.
Yeah.
So hey, listen, take that for what it's worth, guys. Take that for what it's worth, you know.
The only issue I have with my analysis is Derrick Henry has upset multiple teams in the playoffs himself. Last year was the Ravens. The year before, I believe it was the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, like he himself has upset teams. And I was on Henry years ago. I went out to Tennessee for New Year's Eve, and they fired their head coach that year. I was appalled why they fired their head coach. I mean, whatever. But Henry is a monster. Henry is that dude. But I think this week they lean on the play action because we have 3 to 4 more weeks where Tennessee Titans have to be playing, and they can't get Derrick Henry hurt this week.
And two, man, I think it's kind of what I talked about on the show, man. Positional scarcity. I feel like just on my thoughts, I can get someone that is close to the level of Derrick Henry. I know Derrick Henry's a monster. I know you've seen the tapes. I know the man rushed for 2,000 yards. 2,000 yards out here. I know he ran for 227 or something crazy against the Texans, though. Again, we talked about targeting defenses. Texas, one defense we targeted. But I think I can get somebody close to the level of Henry's production, even if he goes off, even if he goes nuts. I think Taylor, I think Chubb. Again, I think Dobbins. Tennessee is a defense that we target, and I think Dobbins is that type of player. He's way too cheap at 66. He's way too cheap at 66, man. If he gets 15, 20 touches like I'm thinking, again, it's the playoffs, yo. It's lose or go home. Don't no coach want to go home. Ain't no coach riding on no pride. Ain't no coach riding on, I like this player a little bit, or I drafted it. Yo, Dobbins is clearly their best running back. This guy is going to get to work. And at 6,600 again, Tennessee is terrible. Yeah. I like him with Dobbins plus 3,000 is greater than Henry. Is greater than Derrick Henry. Is the point? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that analysis. One thing I'm gonna hit you with as well on this running back train that you're talking about. Seattle has been resting and keeping their running backs on the pitch count, and we all know come playoff time they're gonna run that rock. So if you're in a tournament, I don't necessarily know what tournament selection you want to be in, but Seattle got some cheap running backs. Carson coming in at 5,900, and they gonna run that ball this weekend at home against the Rams. Of course, Russ gonna cook, but they gonna run that rock because they kept those running backs on the pitch count all season, and I think Pete Carroll about to switch it up for the playoffs. That's my hot fly. That's my gambling. Roll the dice. That's my analysis on those guys.
Okay, since you added that, that's your high flyer. I was gonna ask you ain't scared about that Rams D, that Aaron Donald D line at all? You just throwing caution at the wind and saying, low owned.
I'm more scared about that D line as it impacts Russell Wilson's play.
Okay.
Than I am about the running backs.
So they try to slow that pass rush down by running a little more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got you.
I'm more worried about Russell. I ain't putting my money on Russell this week. He might win, but I'm not putting my money on him for stats.
Okay. I got you. I got you.
Uh,
Who do you like at quarterback?
that's a great question. And before I go there, don't sleep on Montgomery because of the setup for the Bears. They really don't trust their quarterback. They don't trust nobody there. Don't sleep on that. Going to quarterback, that's a good question. I like Josh Allen. He's expensive. But one thing we learned, you got to have some rushing equity with your quarterback. That's one thing I adjusted from as the season went along. I hate to say it, y'all. If you play Derrick Henry against Brian's wishes, if you do decide to do it, you better hedge and put Tannehill in there. Just in case you're wrong, you still want to be able to have a chance to win. Because if Henry gets 0 touchdowns and Tannehill catches 4 of those touchdowns and runs something in, you need to be able to still be there at the end. So if you go against Brian's sage advice, you better play Tannehill.
But I would say that you should do that in 2 separate lineups if you're gonna do that, because Henry is so expensive. If you play them both together, and he doesn't do anything, you ain't winning nothing anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I shot to the top last week, Dave. I had all 3 of them boys.
Yeah. Against the Texans, though, that's the thing. You can do that against the Texans. You can do that against the Texans. But you just told me them boys was coming to hit this week.
That's real. That's
so
real.
I'm gonna pick. This week I'm gonna pick. Now listen, we one of the few, specifically you, one of the few that say, hey, listen, you can play Tannehill and Henry together now. You know what I'm saying? Against a lot of the industry strategy. You know what I'm saying? And it was right. It was right. A lot of weeks this year. This week, I'm not sure it's that week. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And I might even say that might be the case with Rivers and Taylor. They're gonna be behind against Buffalo. That game script. Buffalo gonna put up points, and I don't know how they're gonna work it out. Quarterbacks I like. Oh man, Phillip Rivers, pretty cheap. Tannehill. Again, I'm liking Tannehill because I think the game script is going to be a play action based game script.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really figured it out there yet. What you think? Josh, I go Josh Allen, Rivers, and Tannehill.
Yeah, I'm probably going Josh Allen or Tannehill.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Josh Allen or Tannehill. I mean, I will say this: Lamar Jackson's only 300 more than Josh Allen. That's interesting. Yeah, although Josh Allen he's actually averaged more points than Lamar Jackson this year, so maybe that's not a win to spend a little more and get Lamar Jackson, but that Tennessee Titans matchup, man.
Should be a fun one.
I mean, if you do play Henry, I'll say this: if you do play Henry, you should play Lamar Jackson in that same lineup. I will say that.
That's a good point.
I mean, again, tell yourself a story. If Henry goes off for 203 touchdowns, that means Lamar Jackson passing, playing catch up all day long, or running, or doing whatever he got to do to try to get his team, back in the game. And if I get that back and forth, if I get an overtime like I almost got with Houston and Tennessee this past week, man, with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, you gotta love it,
Yeah. Any value receivers before we get up out of here, man?
I will say we got to monitor Mike Evans. Left the game again. I rostered him this past week. Still cash though. That's how monster my lineup was. I still cash, But rostered Mike Evans this week. The guy was going nuts in the first quarter. Dropped a touchdown because he hyperextended his knee and never returned. But he's questionable against my Washington football team. But if he's out, man, I mean, Antonio Brown, 61, I don't know if you consider it a value, but just the fact that Antonio Brown kind of steps into a more prominent role is key. Marquise Brown, again, a Tennessee man, 5,400 for Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown. Everybody, listen. The first half of the season, the guy was garbage. He was terrible. Everybody was mad. Especially that middle of the season, man. He 9.0, 7 points, 6 points, 3 points. People was pissed off at this man. But the last 3 weeks, man, 21, 12 and a half, 15. And now he gets Tennessee in a game we anticipating to be somewhat of a shootout. I like Marquise Brown at 54.
And they being disrespectful to Mark Andrews, he's 52.
Yeah, listen.
Who balled out against Tennessee the last time they played.
Man, we about to get somebody to Millie make out here.
Yeah. I mean, got 4X out here last time.
Listen, Mike, stack Tennessee, Baltimore, cuz. Take the cheaper option at quarterback with Tannehill. Get A.J. Brown, get Marquise Brown, get Mark Andrews, and run to the bank.
I like
J.K. Dobbins. Get J.K. Dobbins because I'm not playing Lamar Jackson, so I'm going to play J.K. Dobbins. Man, get out of here. Get out. Man, I'm about to build my lineup right now, cuz.
These pass catches are cheap. And the highest game of the weekend. The highest score of the weekend.
Already, man. Already.
Again, that was one of the lineups I built last week by hand. I said, I'm everybody doing wide receivers and quarterbacks. Cool. I love that stat. But I hand built me Lamar Jackson with his tight end, bring it back to somebody else. Like, you got to specifically go in and tailor your stats to the game, to the people. Anyways, you got to put in the work, y'all. You got to put in the work.
Oh, man.
One last pass catcher, man, is I see coming back strong this week because he's playing against the Browns, and the Browns don't have their head coach playing this week. And I told y'all the Browns were frauds all year anyway.
Come on, man. They proved you wrong, man. They made the playoffs, man.
Coming from a Brown season ticket holder.
Come on, man. Listen at him.
Brian, they can't stop nobody. Everybody that puts up points on the Browns, yes or no?
This is true.
All right.
Especially in the air.
Can't stop nobody. They played the Bengals twice. They played some garbage games, man. They lost to the Jets. The Jets only got 2 wins out here this year. Okay. If they were legit,
they had no receivers out here, cuz all the receivers had COVID, man.
They could make it. Nick Chubb should get the job done. Okay, that's all you need against the Jets. If they were good, I'm not saying the Browns are complete frauds, but they fraudulent.
Okay.
Right, so again, they lost to the Steelers twice. They beat the Ravens. They don't even know if they beat the Ravens once. Like, come on. Let me go with Deontay Johnson, who is Big Ben's target monster, coming in, I think, this week at 6,100.
Yeah, that's too cheap.
Going against the Browns without their head coach. I told you they're fraudulent. And in case the Browns actually get something going, Pittsburgh going to have to go in the air back. And that's the way they're going to beat them. If they go in the air, Deontay Johnson going to get 10-plus targets.
That's all Pittsburgh does anyway, man. That's all they do is throw. Yeah. And against Cleveland, that's the way they attack Cleveland anyway, is to throw. Because their run defense is pretty good, but their pass defense is garbage. So Pittsburgh's strength is Cleveland's weakness.
Yep.
I mean, everybody know they sat the whole team this past week. Don't be fooled by week 17. Deontay Johnson, yeah. He might be lock button out here.
And Pittsburgh almost won.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
So that's why I'm going. That's y'all freebie out here. Next year we're gonna put y'all on the paywall. We're gonna get you on the paywall or something, man. With donation or something. At least donate to one of our favorite charities, man. Like donate to the food bank or something in our name or something like, man. Like help us raise money for the kids, Rob. Brian, what's y'all's favorite charities out here?
Go to the V Foundation out here, man. Get a V Foundation, man, or what's my the hospital, Children's Hospital, man. Yeah, that's what you need to do, man.
Yeah, I always get to the Children's Hospital, and of course, I always do. Of course, I hadn't been able to do it this past year because of COVID-19, but I have a own charity that I've developed that it just raises funds only for school supplies for the kids. So that way the poor kids who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, they have book bags, they have the pencils, they have the paper, they have the pens, everything that they need, the tools in order to be able to be successful in school.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we're going to do something like that next year. We're going to hit y'all with something, paywall or something. You got to do something for us next year. It ain't got to be much, but just let us know we helping y'all out here.
Yeah, man. When we hit, we gonna give a big donation ourselves, man. So you can believe that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I ain't got no more else because otherwise, given the 6-game slate, we'd be giving them a whole.
Listen, man, we already too much out here. Already too much, man. You know.
So. Hey guys, y'all done gave the listeners enough to beat y'all this weekend.
Exactly, man. That's the problem, you know.
hey, let me ask you one last thing. This ain't nothing about the game. This is about picking your head-to-head.
Okay.
When you see somebody on a head-to-head that you can pick, and they got a logo, and they got a nice little logo, do you play them or do you avoid them? Pictures on it.
Nah, I fool with the people with no picture.
Yeah. I done made that mistake. I'm telling you.
Fooling with the logo boys.
Yeah, I be trying to put them on the table, and then I'd be like, man, I don't fare so well. You know?
Nah, man, give me the no logo boys. Give me the cat that wake up Sunday morning hungover, just throwing some lineups in there. That's what I want to. That's how I want to play. You know.
So you pick your head-to-heads on Sundays?
Yeah, I try to. Yeah, cause a cat who got him out there all week long, he plotting, he planning, he ready to rock. You know, he know what time it is. I'm going Sunday morning. You know, I want a guy who got 1 or 2 out there, not a guy who got 50 out there. I'm picking the guy who got 1 or 2. You know, he just dabbling a little bit. Crush his soul and keep moving.
Okay. Stay away from them picture boards. Them picture boards will get you hurt up out here. That's another advanced one to save y'all some money out here. All right.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Real good stuff. Well, listeners, you heard it right here. Make sure you take heed to it. B. Foster and Ron Fun, they're giving you exactly what they do right here on Fantasy Football Come True Outtake. And also, don't forget our last full 30-minute show that will be airing next week, next Saturday at 8:30 a.m. That's the show that puts money in your pocket. Fantasy Football Come True. And this has been another edition of Fantasy Football Outtake, starring B. Foster, Ron Fun. These are the guys that make it happen in fantasy football. This has been another edition. Peace. Holla.